So can we shift this to teachers, our educators? Like, what strategies can we share for our educators to apply during this period to keep them motivated, to keep them taking care of, help them be mindful about taking care of their well-being and overall needs during this time?
Um, well, I'll say that I think I think Amara, you said it, schools as a place of healing. I feel like that is just such a powerful mantra for us, like collectively, to carry forward. And certainly, starting by recognizing the collective trauma for the students and teachers, and knowing that teachers are the folks, and really every the social workers, everyone in a school building who interacts directly with kids and families, to make sure that I think there's an opportunity for leadership to do a lot of listening and making space, like intentionally creating more free time and space to understand, how our teachers, our staff, how are people doing, and providing resources, and kind of allowing teachers and staff the agency to, say what they need, and to, you know, adapt, right? The learning environment, the classroom environment, the lesson plans, just based on how people are doing.
I actually didn't say that. It was somebody else that said the House of Healing. That's okay. But it was wonderful because I do agree that somebody said, kind of returning to what the point of schools were in the first place. I think something that I'm thinking about is kind of like what the implications of this look like in the future when we think about standardized testing and, linking funding to testing, and numbers of seats in schools, and schools that are overcrowding. And so I guess I want to make sure that above the teachers and even above the leaders, like the districts, the superintendent heads, the chancellors, like what are they thinking about in terms of making this possible for schools to be a healing space? I do agree that I think that we might have to do some integration between schools and even like the medical community. Like I could so see like testing happening at schools. I'm in a high school right now, so I know that the principal had told me they were considering having like A and B days where half the kids come on one day, half the kids come on another day, because I think we have 1,800 students in my school. And so just the sheer number of kids, just touching each other and, touching you. And like, it's going to be a real change of how things are going to work. I think elementary schools do a pretty decent job, at least for like, K-2 and pre-K, about sanitizer after the bathroom, before you go to lunch, and right before you touch your food, or when you come back in from recess. But I think we're going to have to think more intentionally about doing those kinds of routines, even with the older kids. And what does that look like on a school on a broad level? But I think ultimately I'm thinking mostly about kind of the tying the funding to the test scores, and like what that's going to look like in a year or two when you've lost a year of learning, and then you have teachers really worried about, like, DC, they have the impact, and your evaluations are tied to your test scores. And so what does that look like in a year or 2 years when we are trying to make up for time lost? And then how do you decide what time to dedicate to that, as opposed to actually making sure your school is a place where everybody's well-being is being taken care of?
Yeah, that's great, Amara. Thank you, because you've actually segued us to our next topic.